Welcome all. This is the Tech Track talk for Relevance by segment. My name is Irshad Allana. It's a little bit outdated picture of me. I look a little bit different post-COVID versus pre-COVID. But I am a group product manager here working with the product team, specifically focused on our search and merchandising product, also called BRSM. Worked a lot with search quality, and I've been with Bloomreach for about 7 years now. Excited to give you a little bit of a glimpse on a feature that we've been working on and have rolled out, and hopefully you guys can find a lot of cool applications with it. So without further ado, I will jump right in. To set the stage a little bit, I just want to give a brief overview about our search solution, right, and search solutions out there. So our search solution is built on a lot of underlying engines. It has multiple levels of sophistication, which gives you the best ranking and best recall in order to maximize revenue on your site. We have a relevance engine based on our semantic search that we've been working for many, many years and built up substantial amount of libraries that help us identify product types, attributes, and we factor all of that in when we do our ranking and recall for search, and also in all of our other applications like suggest, recommendations, and whatnot. We have our optimization engine. That's all the user behavior that's coming in from and pixel integration that we have on your site. We have our personalization engine, and this is where we'll focus on for today. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And the last is a customization engine, which is all our dashboard capabilities that gives you the ability to customize and augment our algorithms with additional information that you might want to incorporate, like offline revenue, margin, returns, all of this different information. You can incorporate that and augment our tried and true and tested algorithm with additional things that you might need to do for your business. So collectively, all of these engines come together to power the experiences that Bloomreach delivers to you, right? And we're maximizing revenue on your site by creating these great experiences that are relevant to the user. And on the subject of relevance, one of the things that helps build more relevance is personalization, right? And that's where we'll focus on today's around one-to-one personalization and segment personalization, and I'll talk about that mostly in this talk. To give you sort of the distinction there, the reason why we built a segment personalization, or as we call relevance by segment, is because of some of the factors we saw with one-to-one, where one-to-one didn't do as good a job as we would have liked and didn't move the needle as much. With one-to-one, it can be great when you have a lot of information about your user, right? If there's a repeat user that gives you very consistent preferences, it's easy to do one-to-one personalization there. And we have a solution to incorporate one-to-one personalization into your search experiences. But the issue that we found is there's a very small subset of those users. In majority of the cases we've seen, you have users that will come back infrequently to your website, right? And that creates a lack of data. If you don't have depth of data, it's very hard to personalize. That's one problem with one-to-one. The second problem is also inconsistent preferences from your customer. Today they might be doing one thing, tomorrow they might be doing something else. Their preferences are constantly changing, their intentions are constantly changing, and you might not know all the background behind that. To give you an example, if I'm on a site around buying gifts, today I might be buying a gift for my dad, tomorrow I might be buying a gift for my brother. I might be doing that within the same session, but I'm going to buy very different things for my dad versus my brother, right? So that's where one-to-one falls short. It ends up being very, very good for a small specific set of customers where you have a lot of data, but kind of can struggle when you don't have that much information, right? And that's where our relevance by segment comes into play, is rather than just using the information of just you, we will use the information of others like you to make a better prediction on what you might be looking for. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that. So I'll give you an overview of the feature. So as context, again, a lot of the sites today, right, you have most sites that we've worked with have a very diverse customer base. And just in this example, we're showing here on the left side a bunch of different segments of users. You have an office worker, someone in cleaning services, someone in construction, someone in medical. Now, all of these people could be using the exact same site. And today, the information, for our current customers that are sending us, it doesn't help parse the differences between these segments. So we're collecting all of that user behavior information, but it's getting aggregated, and then it's optimized for everyone on your site. But the truth of the matter is that every single one of these segments of users actually should get a experience optimized for them. It's going to be a better experience for them. It's going to lead to more revenue for you. Right? So that's the whole point of this feature that we've built, is to be able to absorb that user segment information from you in order to automatically create these segment optimized experiences for your customers. Another sort of visual of what that means is, rather than today, let's say you have a specific query on the left side where all users, no matter who you are, you're going to see that same ranking of products, right? But now if you're in construction or in medical or an office manager, you can see each of these little boxes are kind of reorganized, right? And they're optimized based on what that user segment is engaging with, is adding to cart, is converting, and is driving revenue for you, right? And is giving the best experience for that segment. Now, again, this only impacts the ranking, not the recall of products, because the recall is based on the feed information that you provide us. But the ranking is optimized for that segment. Now, to give you what this real example might look like is the sort of experience that we're trying to tailor. You can see in the two examples here, right? The query is gloves, but one user is a healthcare user and the other is a sanitation user, right? And you can see from the pictures here, the healthcare user is going to want more medical grade gloves versus the sanitation user is going to want something for more cleaning purposes, something more heavy duty, right? Same query, gloves, right? Very different experiences that's optimized for that segment. And that's what we're trying to drive, because this is a much better experience than aggregating all of the signals for a customer and just giving one result set that is a hodgepodge of all of these different, which is not really understanding your user. And that's what we want to focus on, is incorporate that user understanding when we're optimizing our result set. So obviously this is like a B2B case of a merchant selling gloves, but it's very broadly applicable. Here's an example for a potential apparel merchant, right? You have a query of sweater, and the segment here is different. So far, we've been talking about a segment of like an occupation, if you will. Here, we're talking about country, US versus UK. Now, this hypothetical customer sells more adult stuff in the US, but sells more kid stuff in the UK. And as you can see, automatically, just by feeding us that information, we're able to create these two unique experiences. If to your UK audience, you showed a bunch of adult products, they're not going to convert as well as they will on this, because they're mainly looking for child products for that same query sweater. So these are the unique experiences that we're trying to create in order to drive better revenue and conversion on your site. Now, let me give you a couple more examples to kind of jog for your own use cases of how you might use. It's completely flexible, and you can use, these are segments that you pass to us, so they can be whatever segments you want, right? So here's just some examples of what we've talked about with our customers, right? Regional or geo-based, like I showed US versus UK, here US versus Australia. You can also incorporate something like region, right? Middle East versus Eastern Europe versus North America, et cetera, et cetera. People have very different preferences depending on where you are in the world. Even states, Florida versus New York, right? We have customers that sell very different things based on weather patterns, right? The weather can be really warm in Florida and very cold in New York. So for a similar query, you're going to sell two very different things in those two states, and we can create those experiences. Loyalty tiers based on customer spend, gold versus silver. If you know that a customer has a higher price point that they're willing to pay for, they're more price flexible, you can show them higher price products based on what the gold tier buys. If you have price sensitive customers and you know that segment, you can show them more discounted sale driven stuff. And again, this is not something that you are actively managing, which is the great thing about relevance by segment. It's kind of a set it and forget it approach. We want to keep the overhead very, very light for you. So you set it, you forget it, and it's automatically optimizing. Once you've set it at the start. Occupation preferences, healthcare versus sanitation, we talked about that. Runners versus weightlifters, just another example. It can be account-based. This is important for a lot of manufacturers, distributors that we work with. They have a lot of accounts. Each of those accounts can have very different buying patterns, right, for the same query. You don't want to show them the same information. There's obviously, we have the ability to optimize recall sets based on contracts and things like that. That's different. This will optimize the ranking for the different accounts, even if the recall set is the same. And explicit intent based, this is the example that I gave you earlier on around if I'm buying something for my mom versus dad. We have customers that create these kind of guided selling experiences where you explicitly ask for an intent. Where are you working on an indoor project or an outdoor project? Or you buy a gift for your mom, for your dad, and we can use that information to then optimize the experience. You might buy something very different for your mom versus your dad for an indoor project versus an outdoor project. So hopefully that gives you a flavor of the kinds of things that you can use this feature for. Again, it's not limited to this. The world is your oyster. You can pretty much use any segment that you have today. So with that, let me talk a little bit more about the integration. It's a very simple, lightweight integration. We try to keep it as lightweight as possible. For our existing customers, you'll know that we already have a JavaScript-based pixel tracker integrated on your website. That's basically what allows us to pick up the user behavior information from your site, the engagement, the clicks, the views, the add to carts, the conversions, all of that information is collected through our pixel. So we need to update the pixel to basically say, okay, when someone comes to the site, what segment do they belong to, right? And that's how we collect the analytics. And then a simple API integration, this is how we serve back the results, right? It's just an additional parameter that you'll add to your API call, and you'll see the example there on the right side, just something like an segment equals customer country Australia. And that should be sufficient because basically you're telling us, give me the results that are optimized for country Australia because this user that's coming to you is from Australia. Right? And this is available today for our search APIs, our category APIs, our content search APIs, and our pathways APIs. So you can create experiences on a wide variety of pages on your site today. So that's hopefully gave you a brief overview of the feature and of the integration. So I just want to quickly capture some of the key points that I'm hoping that you can take away from this and why we believe this feature relevance by segment is so powerful. Like I mentioned, it's available on search category, content search pathways. So it covers a broad swath of your website, right? And can really optimize a bunch of different experiences everywhere. So rather than one-to-one that focuses on specific areas, this can really allow you to leverage a lot of the website and collects a lot of data in order to power that. And that takes me to my second point. It kind of gets rid of the low data problem on one-to-one personalization. For your infrequent users that are coming back to your site, we can still give them a more optimized experience if we know who they are, what they're doing, right? So for example, if you have an infrequent someone who's doing medical purchasing, and they come to your site, but they don't come back for another like 28, 29 days or couple months even. You might not store all of that information, right? But you can very easily know that, hey, this person belongs to the medical category, so let me use the information from everyone I know that's also in the medical segment, right? And use that information to give them a better experience. So we use more data, and that allows us to impact a larger portion of your users and give all of them a better experience versus just the ones that are a small portion of frequent users that have consistent preferences for one-to-one. This is also a way for you to customize the algorithm, right, with segments from your system. Today, a lot of our customers have CDPs, targeting solutions, tagging solutions, their own data science teams that build segments of users, right? Pass all of that information to us, and we can customize that algorithm for you to make it even better. And all of this we're doing for two main reasons, really. Better relevance for users leads to great experiences. They're going to keep coming back. That's going to lead to faster conversions for you and more revenue. And that's the whole goal of this. And to make it easy, again, we've tried to package it up into a lightweight integration with just basic pixel and API upgrades. And then again, the whole point is to make it very lightweight for you, right? You don't have to actively manage this. This is not like manual targeting, which again has its place, right? Manual targeting is, again, a feature that we provide. And for specific use cases, you can use manual targeting to optimize. But we want to also optimize on a broader scale with broader coverage where you don't have to actively manage it. It kind of automatically personalizes the experience for that segment without you having to do anything. So really, that's what we're trying to capture here. Drive more revenue for you, make it easy, and deliver great experience for your users across all of these different search category pages, content search, and pathways. That's all I wanted to cover. Again, thank you for listening and watching this talk. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out. If you're an active customer, feel free to reach out to your Bloomreach representative. If you have any questions about this feature, we'll be happy to share more information and talk to you about it. If there's specific segments that you are considering, happy to be an advisor for our prospects out there. Again, if you guys have questions about it, again, want us to talk to you about your own use cases, feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to advise you and see how this solution can be customized for you to help with your business goals. Thank you again, and everyone stay safe.